This video contains spoilers for Arcane Season 1 and 2. I keep rewatching the famous prison scene for scientific reasons, of course, and in fact I noticed some detail that might suggest an interesting and pivotal thing about Caitlyn's future. But I'm not sure if I am overinterpreting it, so I'm going to explain everything to you so that you can tell me if you see it too, or if you have a different opinion. The key detail is here, Vi removing Kate's jacket. The camera gives the fallen jacket a dedicated shot. It might seem irrelevant, and at first I also did not pay attention to it, but then I linked it with other scenes and information we have. Let me walk you through it so that you have the whole picture. I have already analyzed Caitlyn and Vi's last conversation in the series, and I have pointed out that Caitlyn's outfit is peculiar because, contrary to most of the time, she's not wearing a uniform here. Let's talk a bit more about this point. Before this scene, Caitlyn as an adult is not wearing a uniform only in two scenes. Episode 4 of Season 1, when she is recovering from the explosion at Progress Day, and Jace pays her visit, and there she is wearing a pretty but informal short dress, probably some kind of nightgown with leggings. And then at the start of episode 4, season 2, when she is in bed with Maddie, she is also wearing some sort of pyjama and a robe. I'm not counting her disguise while she is in zone in season 1, because the whole point of Vi giving her new clothes is not to make her recognizable as an enforcer. But in all other scenes, she's always wearing a uniform, either as an enforcer or as a dictator. Maybe her outfits as a dictator are not strictly coded as uniforms, but still she wears jackets and cloaks with decorations stating her high rank, and they always look very formal. Even at her mother's funeral, she is wearing her enforcer's uniform. On the contrary, on the last scene with Vi, she is only wearing a black turtleneck. I interpreted it as a symbol of absence of hierarchy between her and Vi. However, what if the meaning was deeper and more generalized? Since she is not wearing a uniform at that moment, can we really assume that she still has one at all? Maybe she has no uniform to wear anymore. Unfortunately, I did not find definitive proofs of this, only hints that make this guess plausible, but still it is a possible explanation and coherent with Caitlyn's arc. Caitlyn spent her life in Piltover dedicated to become an enforcer. Then, during season 1, she learns that enforcers in Zone are not as nice as they seemed in Piltover. She realizes then that being an enforcer might not be a good thing. Then in season 2 she has more urgent matter, from her perspective, than reflecting about enforcers. First, she wants to avenge her mother, then she needs to govern a whole city alone. In the second half of season 2, meeting Vi again, Caitlyn is reminded of the mistakes she has made and is still making, and she begins to fix them. She gives up the revenge for her mother, and at the end she gives up her seat at the council for a representative of Zone. These things indicate that she is aware of her past bad actions as a dictator and she wants to fix them. Therefore, it would be coherent for her to also be aware that being an enforcer was a bad choice and fix it by giving up the uniform. Vi is the reason Caitlyn became aware of the real role of enforcers in Zone. But also she is the reason Caitlyn started reflecting about giving up the revenge for her mother and pardoning Jinx. And Vi has deep trauma linked to enforcers, so it would make sense for her girlfriend to give up the uniform in order to make her feel more safe, especially when they start living together. One additional reason is more practical. Caitlyn is now missing an eye. It's possible that one eye only is not enough to be considered eligible to be an enforcer. So, beside possible ineligibility, Vi encapsulates all the reasons that could lead Caitlyn to choose to quit the Enforcers. Vi pulling Caitlyn away from the Enforcers in Act 3 of Season 2 complements with a perfect parallelism the previous specular event of Caitlyn pulling Vi into the Enforcers in Act 1, while in Act 2, the central one and the pivot of the parallelism, each one of them is on her own side without making the other cross to the other side. And as said, in the prison scene, Vi is the person who physically removes the most evident uniform-like piece of clothing from Caitlyn's outfit. So, as anticipated, there is no certain proof, but these are all the elements that I gathered and that enable me to propose this interpretation. At the end of season 2, Caitlyn is not an enforcer anymore because of Vi. The final scene of Caitlyn and Vi contains many other hints about their future, which I analyzed here, but I want to know your opinion. Do you agree with me that Caitlyn left the Enforcers? Or do you think that these elements are too vague to support this interpretation? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe for more Arcane essays, and bye!